The NaVi story in the tournament continues. We're going into their next match. This time they're on Cursed Hollow up against the Spanish team. LDLC is their next opponent. And the draft is already a bit different here. Since we have Muradin suddenly picked by LDLC, they also banned Tyrande. So they were looking at the games of NaVi before and they were saying like, yeah, you guys are not going to get that roaming squad. That's just not going to happen. We don't really like dying that early to you, so we are banning out Tyrande. We're taking Muradin and then we're going to take it from there. At the same time though, we have the Vikings again for NaVi. So how are they going to play with them this time? We're going to go straight into the game, boys, to see if NaVi can advance or if LDLC is going to take them down here.
The semifinal of the GO4Heroes tournament on Cursed Hollow. NaVi is playing versus LDLC. It is still a best of one that we are seeing here, and well, so far NaVi has been doing pretty well, taking down Kinguin on the last map. We're going into this game now with Breeze on an Uberak to the left side. We have Shrimpy on the Lost Vikings. Oh, they switched it around. Eternal was playing the hero in the last game, but now they're having Shrimpy on the Vikings. JPL is playing Vala, Splendor on Brightwing, and Eternal is playing Jaina this time. To the right side of the map we have Polata on Malfurion for LDLC. The Spanish team is running Kilachino on Muradin, Hiruko on Sylvanas, LOL vs XD on Zagara, and Vipilino is playing ETC here. I have to admit that now Shrimpy has to live up to quite a bit of play, because let's face it, the last game where we saw Kinguin play with Lost Vikings and Eternal was using the hero, that was actually quite amazing. But right now they're apparently running a completely different setup here, since Shrimpy has all of his Vikings on the same lane. Eternal was playing that very differently, trying to soak 3 lanes at times, but always at least 2, and in this game right now they're going for more the traditional way to play Vikings here. So we're having at the bot lane now Zagara alone, LOL vs XD playing against Splendor, and Breeze and Eternal are apparently trying to rush in right now. First stun, second stun, and the attempted snipe, and it's so close, but LOL vs XD gets away. At the top lane, Eric didn't make it, he was taken out already, so he got eliminated here. We're having Muradin starting to rotate throughout the lanes, going straight for the mid lane right now, but Breeze is already waiting, and Eternal is there as well. This is of course more for the experience stoke than anything else. Both of the stuns are missing. Oh, that was a good jump by Kilachino. Was one in the last second actually. Brightwing has to deal at the bot lane now with LOL vs XD, but a lot of the pressure also comes from the top lane. So the setup that LDLC is running is relying in the early game a lot on the Sylvanas and also Zagara. Both of the heroes are great for pushing power. You might have noticed already that they don't have them on the same lane. So the idea is not to soak experience on 2 lanes and really just like push 1 lane in. Instead, what they are trying to do is really threaten NaVi on 2 lanes and make it really difficult for them to rotate out. At the bot lane, of course, Zagara is going to win the battle against Brightwing here, no problem whatsoever, since we just have way too much. We're already seeing Sylvanas now rotating down here to get even more pressure on it, so they have even a rotation with that tri-lane, which is even stronger than anything else. Polata, Hiruko, LOL vs XD, but that also forces out a reaction, and that makes that lane now the center of attention for all of us, of course. LOL vs XD is already there. Up at the top, they couldn't apparently do too much, so it looks a bit like they only took one of the towers down and then decided to just like roam through the lanes, and they're still doing it. There's a lot of vision also on the map, thanks to the creep tumors that we are seeing now. We have on level 4 Envenomed Spines taken, Reconstitution is taken here. And of course on Cursed Hollow the first tribute is now starting into the map. Full beetle build on a Uberak, by the way, very popular these days. If you want to adjust that a bit, if you want to tweak it, then normally it's the Impale that you're trying to bring in on either level 1 or level 1 and level 7. We're having also no healing ward taken, but instead it's it's protective shields on both of the heroes that have access to the talent. Of course, ETC in this game is going for the additional power slide talents on level 1 and level 4. The fight for the tribute is happening, but Polata is catching that. Oh, Breeze is trying to jump in though. They're attempting to get a stun lock, but they do not get it, and Kilachino is jumping away on Muradin. No harm, no foul. ETC of course run in a double tank composition once again. Oh, Muradin actually, even though he was jumping away, he apparently did not anticipate the flank from the side here, and therefore he goes down. Bot lane is being pushed hard. Keep in mind that LOL vs XD was not even with a team during the entire time, so they won that tribute without having him on lane. Shrimpy was still soaking experience, so it's not like they are suddenly far ahead in that regard. We have once again ETC played in a double tank composition here, as I already pointed out during the draft. Like, if you think ETC, then you always think of him more than a sidekick at the front line as the main actor. So he's not really Batman, he's more Robin to Muradin's Batman here, what we're having in the game. And with that squad, then you can suddenly start to do some damage. He's not looking as funny as Robin. He has a bit of a better skin here. That master skin on ETC is still pretty damn cool. But yeah, so he's not wearing those tight pants. Eternal is already at the tribute spot, and so is Breeze. So they're really attempting to get the second one. It doesn't even look like their opponents are going to try and disrupt that. LOL vs 6D is there for a couple of Banelinks and trying to interrupt that late a bit, but Eternal already caught this one. So a bit of a slower start into the game, a couple of nice rotations, especially from the pushing squad, but nothing really forcing a big team fight or anything like that, except for the first tribute where we had a bit of a brawl happening there. We're seeing Remorseless taken on Sylvanas on 7 and having Endless Creep now taken. So the Creep tumor talents on level 1 and level 7. Endless Creep really helps you to get the creep spread out. And with Zagara in particular, vision is everything. Knowing is not only half the battle for Zagara until she gets a good escape on level 20. It's also about survivability, not only for her but also for the team. If you get those creep tumors close to your opponent's boss and your own, then you also know about their movements and rotations on the map, and that is absolute priceless information. Guitar Hero not taken on level 7, instead it is just keep rocking, which is also kind of nice, because you are a bit better set up against all those stuns and the slows that your opponent has, and in the case of NaVi, they're running a fair amount of that. The Beetle build is by now complete, and usually on level 13. Well, you have a few choices on 13. You could go for a Spell Shield, which in this case I don't really see a reason for. Burning Rage is oftentimes even taken on the hero now. You can go for the Shield as well. So there's a couple of options that Anubarak has on level 13. We're going to talk about that a bit later on. The first talent that is going to hit next is, of course, going to be the Heroic ability. And here comes another tribute on the map that the two teams are fighting for right now. The setup is already there. Brightwing at the top. One Viking is starting to rotate over for the experience. Brightwing is not jumping in yet. They're going to give it up, apparently. They're trying to delay it as long as they can, but Brightwing is committing now. JPL is stunning that out in the last second. Job well done by Vala. Needed to go deep for that. Had to be careful, but they're going for Kilachino, and Muradin is trying to jump away. He misses the jump! He misses the jump, and now he's dying. Muradin, Kilachino missing his jump, and therefore he is trapped and goes down. The tribute taken. LOL vs 6D at the top lane is trying to get some experience, can maybe take one of the towers down, because right now they are fighting without their heroic ability, and Eternal, they are going deep in from behind, taking Polata out. They get the kill thanks to the water elemental. They really wanted this one, and they were willing to dive deep for it. 3 kills against 0.2, 0.5, and this is, of course, not really the start that LDLC was hoping for. They find themselves 1 level behind. We're having Web Blast taken on Anubarak, and he is going in again already. Strafe on Vala. Blink heal, of course, Water Elemental, and so far no talent taken on the Vikings, but it's gonna be Longboat. There is, of course, no real other option. The second talent on the Vikings, you don't really take that, even though it was buffed a bit in the latest patch. But it's still not something that you can really rely upon. Up at the top, Shrimpy on Eric is trying to soak a bit of experience, so that LOL vs 6D is not allowing LDLC to close that gap in EXP too fast. We're having Mosh Pit taken in this game now. Tranquility, Avatar, Maw, and Wailing Arrow. And this is Cursed Tribute. It is at least a Cursed Tribute if NaVi is getting it. And they are there. By the way, Eric is a bit split from the rest of the team, so they can't go for the longboard yet. He also hasn't picked the talent just yet. They're going in once again, and here comes the Mosh Pit. Mosh Pit against 2. He's not going to focus out of it. There's no stun available right now, and they might get a kill. No, they don't. Vipolino moves back, and Kilachino, he is so low, but he escapes and gets through the back line. So now he can use his passive to heal himself up once again, but only if he doesn't take damage, and Eternal is trying to make sure that he does. Down goes Malfurion. The longboat is finally there and is starting to do work. They're taking Vipolino down, aren't they? Yes, they get him, and they're trying to get LOL vs 16 now too, and they are about to drop him. Zagara is dead. Are they able to get even more? No, they're not, unless they're moving in from behind, and they don't. They instead focus on the boss immediately. Level 13 versus level 11. NaVi is on a run 16 right now. They are doing extremely well here. The game against Kinguin was already impressive, and now we're having them once again getting ahead in the game. 2-level advantage for them, and the boss to top that off. They get the tribute, and they time it actually perfectly with the boss. They were delaying it for a bit, focusing on the boss first so that they get the most out of it. This boss is gonna wreak havoc here, and they have to do something about it. Now what we're going to see is most likely, or we could see a rotation from Team NaVi to the bot lane and try to take the boss. They could also go for the mid lane first. Whatever they do, LDLC has to take care of this bad boy at the top lane, because boss plus curse, that hurts, and it hurts a lot. It's the pain train. And Breeze missing that stun, missing the second one as well, but he zones them out, and that is more than enough. Symbiotic armor taken, so the Beetles get a bit more love in the fights, a bit more protection. Frost shot, we have also Impatience is a virtue in this case. Sprint on Jaina, Ice block on Brightwing, and yeah, they are starting to pressure the mid now. And that of course takes a lot of the pressure away from the boss, who is starting to work through that wall. And we even have another Viking moving in. That team fight here on the other hand, apparently they're willing to take it. The Spanish team is moving in. JPL is rooted, but he's already using his own strafe to get some more damage in. Here comes the web blast and the stun immediately behind that. Polata is already trying to get away at the same time. The silence on the sheep against Killer Chino, the polymorph, but ETC is down the longboat for the damage once again up at the front line, trying to dish out the damage, and it does. One hero down on the side of LDLC, and NaVi is just moving back again. The boss nearly killing the keep up at the top lane, doing work throughout the entire fight already, and the 16 talent is now there any second. NaVi in absolutely dominant fashion here on the European server. The GO4Heroes tournament, it looks like they might be the ones taking the final. They will advance to the final if they win this map here, and so far they've been doing an incredible job. We have 7 kills against 0.25 down at the bot lane. The boss is now taken too, and there's just no rest for LDLC. They just don't get a second, they don't get a minute. The positioning is always great for NaVi. They have the tribute positions early on, they have the advantage of an extra talent or several levels that they are ahead. We're seeing them with 3-level advantage. The stats alone are great for them, and now they're taking camps away, they're taking vision, they're moving in again. Splendor is using the bot lane to get some more experience. He knows that the rest of the opponent's team is already there, and the mid lane is of course pushed also, since JPL and Shrimpy are already in position for that. They're moving in for this. They could go straight for the keep right now and try to focus that down, as LDLC is still busy with the boss down at the bot lane. In the back we're having 2 of the Siege Giants helping out a bit too. But yeah, LDLC, they need to rotate now, but of course it is way too late to save the keep. They might be able to take a fight. The question is, would you really want to? And well, not really. 13 versus 17, that is not a battle that you want to take. You are missing out on a talent, you are way behind in stats, your opponent is currently running with Quitterize, Numbing Blast. I'm a bit surprised that we don't see Northern Exposure in this case, but Numbing Blast of course also a great talent. Very good options for Jaina on level 16, and we're having a double blood for blood on top of that too. So they are starting to move in, the map dominated by NaVi. A great game that they're currently playing here, and we are seeing them going in for that. The one hope that they have is maybe a setup with a great mosh pit. If they get a good mosh pit in that isn't interrupted, they might be able to kill a few heroes. That could be what brings LDLC back into the game, but it's, I feel like, the only option now. And for that to happen, they really have to isolate the heroes that could potentially stun a Nuburak, Brightwing. This is tricky. It's a really, really difficult defense that they have ahead of them now, but they somehow need to manage that if they want to stay in this tournament, and it's not looking like they can. But they're trying. They're doing whatever they can here. We have an Ice block on Malfurion, who didn't dare to go into live scene, and I don't blame him. Here comes the stun setup, and there is also the polymorph, but the mosh pit is great. This is a really good mosh pit, and the damage is there. It kills Breeze. He gets the web blast off in the last second. They get 1 kill in. So far, every one of them is still alive, but 1 kill is just not enough. It was an amazing mosh pit that we saw by Vipolino there. That was just about perfect. Doesn't get any better than that. Unfortunately for them, they didn't have more damage. Great wall by JPL. Gets away from Killer Chinos. from Khaldor's hammer. That was a good move here, keeps them alive. They're still 3 levels behind, but they were able to defend one of their keeps. So that was a really good move there. They need a few more of those, and then they might be able to come back into the game, but right now, of course, they are just struggling a bit. Getting a kill against an opponent that is ahead of you in levels always gives you a bit of an underdog bonus as well, so it's easier for you to close that gap in experience, but only getting one is not making that much of a difference. There's already a scouting drone set up at the boss, so they know that there's probably an attempt by LDLC to go for it, and this is of course a move that they kind of have to do. They're trying, but they move away. They see the rotation on the map, they had vision with the creep wave down at the bot lane, and now they knew what was going on here. We're having the move up to the top, where there's another tribute spawning. The 16 talent would actually put LDLC on the same talent level than their opponent. And there it is. That's the fight that they can take. 2 levels behind, yes, that advantage is there, but this is Tenacious Roots right now. We're having Echo Paddle, Root Expansion, Cold Embrace for the burst, and Stone Form. If you fight, you have to fight now. This is the time to fight. This is the time to start and try and come back, and the Vikings are also a bit split here. At the same time, there's the entire setup. Mosh Pit isn't ready yet. There's another 10 seconds on the Mosh Pit, and Nibelino is already low. There's also the problem with Khaldor. He jumps in deep, gets polymorphed and sniped, and Zagara is the second victim. That did not work out at all. Yeah, Muradin trying to jump in, but he was already very low. He was using his stone form, using Avatar, going in, but the focus was just... It happened instantaneously, and that was... Yeah, that was the end of Muradin, and now the rest of the team. Also the last keep falling, and there's the GG already called, since they basically give up on this one. Hiruko and Bala is the only survivor, and he is in a lot of trouble here against all those stuns. On Sylvanas, of course. But yeah, this is going to be game. We have NaVi advancing to the final here with an amazing play against Kinguin in the last match, and now against their current opponent, against LDLC. They reached the finals. Congratulations to them. Very, very well played, and another great Cursed Hollow game by them.
Another game, another victory. NaVi does it again. This time not with Eternal on the Lost Vikings. A bit of a different play that we saw here. The Vikings as 3 more on the lane and trying to get to just take one lane instead of going for that 6 split that we saw in the game against Kinguin. But it was still successful for them. They take LDLC down, and now NaVi is on their way to the finals. Exceptionally played by them throughout the entire tournament so far. Very impressive performance, and I can't wait for the next few games to happen. So guys, if you enjoyed the game, you know the drill. Give the video a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section if you have any questions and if you have any comments to the game. And yeah, that's it for the day. So NaVi versus LDLC. Great match here. Can't wait to see what NaVi is going to do in the best of 3 in the finals. So see you guys in a bit with the best of 3 match at the GO4Heroes.